This is the theme of Setback and Blood Out, Introduction to Film Analysis, Select Frames. Hi, this is Regina Favors with theme of Setback and Blood Out, so a film that was done in 2011. This is the second film that I have conducted an analysis, not necessarily a critique. This is part of my Overcoming Setback series where I apply the 7 stages of setback, but I also conduct a film analysis calling attention to areas where I believe that the main character or the supporting characters reflect some sense of setback. With this particular analysis, I want to focus on the writer-director and his or her decisions and how those decisions create character setbacks. So if you've had some time to review Pressed, the theme of Setback and Pressed, you will realize that I focused more on how setback affects character development and just looking at the main character. For this one, however, I want to look at the writer-director. The writer-director is Jason Hewitt. As a writer, he has a co-writer, John A. O'Connell. But I want to look at possibly Jason Hewitt because he is both credited as writer and director, and basically look at how examine and analyze how he is using his decisions, making decisions almost on behalf of the character, and how the character has to walk out particular setbacks. In other words, writer-director is throwing a setback in the way of the main character, and thinking about how the writer-director organizes, furthers, times, perpetuates setback through that character. So this is theme of Setback and Blood Out, understanding how writer-director decisions create character setbacks. Just to note, this film analysis does not utilize film clips because of YouTube restrictions. I don't want to run into the issue of copyright trademark infringement. And I particularly use frames. So I will go frame by frame of particular visuals to give you an understanding, explain it, go through it, and hopefully you will gain insight from it. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel. If you are interested in further videos, please hit the notification bell. Theme of Setback and Blood Out, understanding how writer-director decisions create character setbacks. So this film analysis is subject to fair use. All right, so here is your plot summary. Blood Out centers on Michael Savions, and this is played by Luke Goss, who also played in Blade 2, Hellboy 2, Death Race 2, One Night with the King. Michael Savions' semi-vigilante quest to investigate his brother David's murder. After he confronts the city detectives responsible for not investigating David's gang-related murder, Michael, a small-town lawman, is forced to give up his badge to pursue an undercover operation solo. He transforms into a gang member, skilled and knowledgeable about gang life and territorial wars, and maintains his focus despite tests and challenges that arise throughout his journey. The narrative leads to Michael's discovery of David's murderer, culminating in him winning a blood match. At the end of Blood Out, Michael makes a life-changing decision in rescuing David's pregnant girlfriend. Here are your learning objectives. So by the end of this film analysis, you will be able to do the following: summarize the plot, outline Michael's strategy for going undercover, define Michael's setbacks, interpret how the writer-director creates Michael's setbacks, create a film analysis, define how the theme of setback is explored within the analysis. Do keep in mind that I am not conducting a film critique. I am merely conducting a film analysis. And then in the learning objectives when using the 7 stages of setback. By the end of this discussion, you will be able to apply the 7 stages of setback. And I explored these 7 stages in my book, Overcoming Setback, 5 Keys for Entering and Exiting Correction, which will be available August 2021. So the 7 stages are missed opportunity, punishment, pain, correction, recovery, restoration, and advance. Usually when you miss an opportunity, it is due to the fact that you missed some turn in life, you missed an instruction, you decided to not heed a warning, you decided to disobey an instruction. So then when that happens, punishment comes. It's automatic. And then pain, you have to go through a correction process. The recovery time oftentimes takes a little longer than the correction process, even though many people think that pain takes a longer time than correction. And then you go through a restoration. So recovery is usually recovering from your bad thinking about a particular decision. Restoration would require a mentor. And then advance is that forward and continuous movement once you have overcome your setback and you have gone through the correction process, because overcoming setback requires you to go through a correction process, which is connected to you obeying an instruction. And you cannot advance, you cannot move forward without obeying an instruction. So these are your learning objectives for applying the 7 stages of setback, and that is done at the end of this film analysis. So the narrative structure, the way I perceive it and understand it, is there's one major plot which focuses on Michael's setbacks. And remember, the writer-director is not writing necessarily in mind with the idea of applying setback to a character. Sometimes writers and directors they write and then they direct. And so within the screen, the script, you might perceive something as a setback, and we would call it normally an obstacle. So I'm calling it a setback because I want you to be able to think about it from this standpoint. How will you get out of it? How will you go through it? How will you overcome it to get to the other side? So I feel like there's one major plot, which is Michael's setbacks. And then there are 2 sort of subplots, which is David's setback and then the drug dealer setback. And there's more than one type of drug dealer. That's why you have in parentheses that S. So the purpose and goals, the purpose of this film analysis is the following. So I would like to explore how the writer-director creates setbacks for the major character, and then focus on the writer-director's decisions and strategies used within the film to further and time setbacks. So as much as we usually we enter setbacks simply because of a missed opportunity or ignoring an instruction, but then there are setbacks that are just timed, that are part of a natural progression of things, that someone might throw a setback. Here it is, you decided to apply for something, but it won't start for another month. Like you are applying for a job, you need a job, but the training won't start for another month. That's part of timed setbacks. So I want to look at how the writer-director times setbacks for the main character. The goal of the film analysis is the following. So outline the writer-director plot decisions. We need to look at that. Interpret writer-director plot decisions based on the attitudes, belief system, and actions of the central character. And we're talking about Michael Savion. Apply the concept of setback as a theme, and then create a rationale statement for why using setback as a theme is appropriate. Because again, in most film analyses, I've never, or even film critiques, I've never really heard even of a commentary or any sort of film critic mention setback. They often mention hindrances, obstacles, but I want to actually look at this from the place of setback. So I will address the rationale statement at the end as well. All right, like, subscribe, and visit. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell for more discussions. You can visit my YouTube channel for further film analysis. It's Favorites Film Analysis as the title of the channel. You can always send me an email and ask me a question, reginayfavorites@yahoo.com. My Overcoming Setback 5 Keys for Entering and Exiting Correction book will become available around October 2021. I'm still doing some editing. The book does not focus on film analyses, but I use the content that I created for the book to support my my perceptions of setback used as a theme in select films. So when the book becomes available, I will send out a notification video, audio. Thank you very much for visiting the channel.